Hey everybody, Koricon here, and we're going to be looking at a trailer. It's a new Hindi movie called Satyameva Jayate. Hope I pronounced that right. But it's starring John Abraham and Manoj Bajpayee. Sorry if I slaughtered those names. What caught my interest on this one is it's directed by Milap Zaveri, and he had done a short film called Raakh, which I interviewed the composer of that short film, Raju, Singh, if you want to see that interview, and we talked about Raakh a little bit and some of his future projects. He's going to be doing some other cool stuff going on. I saw that short film and it was awesome. If you haven't seen Raakh, I'll put a link to it in the description below. You need to go check it out. I loved that short film. It was the perfect writing for a short film where you have your characters established, you have the reasonings, and then the kind of twist, or whatever you want to call it, the change in story. It was all great in a very short period of time. Now, Milap is also writing and directing this movie, and it's I think it's his first feature film. I could be wrong about that, but he's done a lot of TV, like 24 India and stuff like that. So I think this is his first feature, and I'm excited to see what he has. But if his writing in this movie is as good as it was in Raakh, then I'm sold. But it is coming out on August 15th on Independence Day, the same day as Gold with Akshay Kumar and my guy Amit Singh. I don't know, if they're coming out on the same day. I mean, Gold has the period piece, drama, sports, patriotism, like everything that you would want for Independence Day. And I don't know if the people are going to go see two movies that weekend. But if it gets good word, I think they will do just fine. So let's check out the teaser. Is it a teaser? No, it's a trailer. So let's check out the trailer for this. It's T-Series, so this is probably going to get claimed, but oh well. Let's check it out. Slow-mo water. It's true.
Corruption. किलर जो भी है वो कोई आम मुजरिम नहीं है, लेकिन वो अपने दिमाग में एक सिपाही है जो सत्य के लिए लड़कर
Oh, serial killer. I like those kind of stories.
तुझे ऐसी मौत मारूंगा कि तू इस जन्म में चलेगा, लेकिन दर्द अगले जन्म तक चलेगा.
Explosions, practical explosions. I like that.
बहुत पकड़ ली, अब मगरमच्छ पकड़ने की बारी. कानून को हाथ में लेने का हक सिर्फ कानून के हाथों को होता है. हम खाकी वर्दी वाले उसे खाक में मिलाएंगे. इस साले को छोड़ना नहीं.
कोई सीरियल किलर तो नहीं हो ना, वो जो शहर में पुलिस वालों को मार रहा है?
तू तो
तुम्हारी आंखें किसी किलर की नहीं है.
Oh, I like that sand coming off her arms. That was cool.
बहुत दम है, तू बचेगा नहीं. 2 टके की जान लेने 9 मिलीमीटर की गोली नहीं, 56 इंच का जिगरा चाहिए. एक शपथ आपने ली थी, अपनी वर्दी, अपने फर्ज के लिए. एक शपथ मैंने ली है बाबा, इस मेडल की खोई हुई इज्जत लौटाने.
That was a cool little.
जिन्हें खाकी पहनने का हक नहीं, उन्हें खाक में मिलाने की.
So you're probably going to be able to understand both characters. And he's taking the law into his own hands, but the law officer needs to stop him.
में एक औरत की मार में अब दुनिया का कोई भी मर्द ये ताना नहीं मारेगा कि तूने चूड़ियां पहनी है क्या।
Lot of over-the-top action, but it works. I like. All right, so let's go back and take a look at this. John Abraham is going to be a serial killer that's killing corrupt police officers, but he's only killing corrupt police officers. So that's going to give him a motivation that people can understand and they can kind of sympathize with. But at the same time, you don't want him to be killing people, but you understand why he's killing people. Manoj is going to be the cop that's trying to stop him. He is probably not a corrupt cop. He's like going to be the epitome of a good cop and trying to stop John from killing all these corrupt cops. But at the same time, he's going to kind of understand why he's doing it. He just can't have him doing it. Reminds me a bit of like Breathe. If I know you guys might be tired of me talking about that show, but in Breathe, you had the cop that was trying to catch Madhavan. Amit was trying to catch Madhavan, but Madhavan was killing people to save his son. So you understood the reasoning. When you have serial killers like that, it makes the movie more engaging. If you can have either the serial killer is like over the top, crazy, insane, doing nuts stuff, and you don't know who it is, or you give the serial killer a reason, and then you can show that serial killer on film. But if you have a crazy, over the top serial killer and you can't sympathize with them, it's got to be a solo story. You can't have dual characters. So either the serial killer's by himself, kind of like Raman Raghov 2.0, and he's crazy and all over the place, but it's basically just him. Or you give the serial killer a reason so you can have the cop and the dynamics. You know, Vikram Vita had that kind of thing. They weren't serial killers. That was like a gang leader and a cop. But whenever you have the good and the bad and you're trying to give sympathy or have people understand both sides, or you have the serial killer not be on film and they're just doing crazy, insane stuff like Seven. So I do like the direction they're going. You understand the serial killer. The John Abraham is going to be half the movie. And I would want, now in this trailer, John Abraham is most of the movie. I would want some more of Manoj in there as well, because if you're going to do a duality storyline, you really got to have an equal parts of both characters so that you feel for both of them and you're following their travels through the movie so that when they come head to head, you know, in the middle of the movie and then at the end of the movie, that they, you know, it's epic. You're like, oh my gosh, who do I root for? Almost. So I am liking the story setup. I hope they're going to be able to equalize those characterizations for the impact. Now, there is going to be a lot of slow-mo, which is fine. It works for action movies. But I did see a lot of practical explosions, not CGI, which is very good. Here is a standard foot in the water slow-mo, which if you saw Raakh, he actually does that in Raakh. I wonder if it's kind of like a little homage to his short film, or maybe he throws that in a lot of his movies. I'm not sure, but it was a shot that was in Raakh. I remember it because it was right in the beginning. And cinematically, you know, I like water. Boom. I like the lighting in that shot with just the car, you know, lighting his way. And then this is the reverse side. So you get just the shadows, but you get to see the wood in the background. They got the light coming in from the ceiling. That's a nice ominous shot. It just looks scary. You know, you don't know where they are. Some abandoned warehouse. There's not very much light. And then you see John Abraham killing somebody or putting him on a pyre. I like the red in this shot. It does remind me of a lot of action movies that have done that. Red is a good sign of like anger or death, things like that. And when you have a large red motif like this, it kind of looks cool on film. I like the way it looks. Now, this religious ceremony festival thing, and I can't remember the name of it, so please tell me in the description below what this specific one was called. But this is the same one that Shah Rukh Khan was doing in Race. It was one of the few times that you saw him with his shirt off, so I had a lot of people reminding me of that. But this is, you know, it's a very violent kind of religious thing where you're taking penitence, and so you're hitting yourself with blades or whips. Some people use barbed wire, you know, cat o' nine tails. But it looks very bloody. You can see the blood all over the floor, and the light is reflecting off of it. It's crazy. Look at that. Ugh. So we're gonna have a lot of slow-mo and a lot of action and over-the-top action, just like this of him tearing through a tire. You know, you're not gonna be able to do that. And a lot of slow-mo walking. It's gonna be the style of the film. There's a lot of movies that do that, especially you know, many masala films, especially in South Indian films. They use that. It's stylistic. There's nothing wrong with it. You just don't want to overuse it. So hopefully they don't overuse it in this movie to where you don't actually get a good story. You know, if you use too much slow-mo, you're going to pad the length of your film with all of this slow-mo, and you're not going to get any dialogue out of it. So, but it is, I think, going to be a 2.5, 3 hour movie, so they should have plenty of time. I just think the slow-mo eventually gets tiresome, just because usually you want to use slow-mo as an effect. You know, this is awesome, this is epic, you've got a slow-mo scene, you're increasing that. But if you use it all the time throughout your movie, it takes away from that impact. You don't have the impact of it being epic or awesome. It's just another slow motion scene. So you need to be a little sparing with it. Hopefully they used a lot of the ones that are going to be in the movie they used in the trailer, so that the movie is not chock full of a bunch of slow-mo scenes, because that will lose its effect, and by the time you get to the end of the movie, the slow-mo scenes are not going to have that epic feel that you are intending it to have. Or people could just like all the slow-mo scenes. I'm just saying that if you overuse anything, it loses its effect that you're going for. So here we get our first look at Manoj. He doesn't look to be in the trailer too much, but they are setting it up to be that dual character, you know, battle with each other. So hopefully he does get half the screen time, just so that we do build up his characterization at the same time that we build up John Abraham's. I like this office. It looks like a, you know, a cop's office. It doesn't look unrealistic. I don't know if many cop offices in India look like this, but it has a utilitarian feel to it. And I like how the light rays are coming in from the side. It's a well-lit, well-shot scene. I just like the setup for it. These are interesting shots. I like all of the white with the sheets. It's meant to them playing under the sheets in the bed. But it always looks kind of cool, especially when you have a soft light like this and there's no harsh lights anywhere. This is probably a part of a montage sequence that they'll have a song playing for, probably near the beginning or whenever he meets her, maybe a third of the way through the movie. But I like that. And he's even got a camera. He's doing a little glance. It's got to be part of a montage, I think. This is a pretty ominous sequence. You got just the two lights in a basement torturing people. Now this is probably going to be a song and dance number. May not, because I don't see John Abraham in there. Could just be a setup for a scene. However, I love the way it looks. All of the red, again, I like the red. The water right in the front on the pool is like right up to the edge and spilling over. I like the way the water is, you know, bouncing that light off. And you have all these cool little light pieces, like lanterns from the sides, lamp at the top, some light bulbs that are just hanging. You have a lot of dynamic light all over the place. It makes the sequence feel active. And then with them dancing in the nice costumes, like that. And I love the way this looks. Cinematically, she's holding the sand in her hands. She had probably just raised out of sand. And so you have it spilling over her shoulders and her arms. It looks cool. Just from a cinematic point of view, it looks awesome. All of the costumes look great, especially with these different dance sequences. So this scene right here, I think is going to be in the middle of the movie, probably right before intermission. Now, although this is a slow-mo punch, I do like the fact that it's a wide shot. The camera is pulled back. Even in the 3 edits they made, I know it looked like 2 edits, but there's actually a 3rd edit right at the end. You have this, there's edit 2, and then edit 3. It was like a jump just to make it look like he moved faster right at the end. They're all wider shots, so you get to see both characters in frame. I like that. Now, for the trailer, they're giving a lot of good motivation for John Abraham's character, where he says, you took an oath to stay true to your uniform, to your duty, and you see the intercut between him and him as a child, looking at his father's medal. I'm assuming that's his father's medal, but it's a great kind of easy setup. You don't have to do a backflash. Now, they probably do a backflash, but they wouldn't really have to if they're using stuff like that. You know, this is something that has been instilled in him since he was a child. So it's going to be a very strong emotion, strong motivation. And then in this, they showed, I'm assuming it's his father, who had dumped oil or gasoline on him and set himself on fire in front of the India flag. And that would be him as a child screaming no. I don't know quite what that would be. Maybe his father was found to have been corrupt. Maybe he took a bribe or something, and in his shame, he lit himself on fire, and his son witnessed it. And that could be part of his motivation. I'm not sure. But whatever, or maybe he was a good cop. This would be a good one. He was a really good cop, never was corrupt, but someone framed him and said that he was a corrupt cop. And so the shame of that is what caused him to commit suicide. And then now as an adult, he's killing corrupt cops because his father was framed by a corrupt cop. That would be a good motivation. I'd like that. Some more unrealistic strength. I don't know if they're going to explain why he's strong. I doubt it. I think it's just going to be a part of the hero mythology that goes into it, but they're not going to give him like godlike strength or an animal strength or anything like that. They're probably just not going to explain why he's that strong. A lot of movies don't do that. Some movies do. I prefer a reason, personally. But if it's a cool movie, I can oversee it. I can overlook it. And then this car exploding. Looks like a practical effect explosion under the car to make it launch. I'm not sure if he is right next to that explosion, though. He might be green screened in because of safety issues. But even if he is, I mean, it looks pretty good. I think it is green screen, but it looks good. There you go, ladies. There's a bicep for you. So like I said before, slow-mo action, but very wide shots. I do like the wide shots. Overall, I think it would look like a fun time at the theater. I'm a little concerned about how much slow motion is in this trailer, because if they use it way too much in the movie, it's going to lose its effect. At least for me, it would. Some of you may be just fine with it. I know a lot of action fans. I'm an action fan, but there's a lot of action fans that don't mind. They just love all of the slow-mo. So it's really personal preference. Now, this trailer did highlight mostly of the action, you know, explosions, some of the fight sequences, a little bit of character development, mostly for John Abraham's character. I want to see more character development, so maybe they'll come out with another trailer that gives us more character development, especially for Manoj's character. I would like to see more of a story, because the story is really what's going to hold the movie together. The action can look cool, but if the story isn't, then it's going to fall apart. So I want to see another trailer that really sells me on the story. And again, because this movie is coming out on Independence Day, same day as Gold, it really has to have something extra special to be able to compete. So hopefully the story is good enough that people will go see it alongside of Gold, because I know people are going to go see Gold, but maybe they'll see both of them that weekend. But what do you guys think? Comment below and let me know your thoughts on this. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I will see you on the next video.